Dale, thank you so much for coming to join me on the Tiny Sessions podcast. It's lovely to have you here today.
Lovely to come and chat to you.
It's so nice, and I know that you guys have literally pulled over so that you can chat to me on your way down to Bristol. It's Bristol you're on your way down to, isn't it?
Yeah, so making our way down from Yorkshire, but yeah, we've literally pulled in onto the service station, so yeah, very much on the road at the moment.
I love it.
Quick stop in Bristol and then onto Dover.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. Oh, we're going to chat about that later. It's so exciting. I love what you guys are doing. So for anyone who doesn't know about you guys or might not have heard about you guys, can you just give us a little bit of info and a bit of background information about yourselves?
Yeah, for sure. So we converted our van. I think we bought it in January 2019, and we spent just over a year converting it. And then we basically finished about a week before the first UK lockdown, which was like pretty shocking timing.
Yeah.
So then after that, we kind of started feeling like we wanted to give back to the community, and so we'd been kind of writing a blog, and I was kind of furloughed as well, so I spent some time kind of working on the blog, adding lots of content to our website, and yeah, I guess things kind of snowballed from there, and now we're kind of starting our own business, like helping people with their van conversions, so like giving like resources and services and just like building our website up. But yeah, our kind of background is in kind of like engineering and science, and converting our own van a couple of years ago. So yeah, that's a brief overview.
Yeah, so it's fairly new, I guess. The sort of lockdown has sort of made your plan slightly shuffle, and it's sort of got you guys to where you are now, which is kind of cool in a way. It's kind of a positive twist on it. I love that.
It's blessing in disguise in many ways, because I think initially we were planning to go away for maybe a year, and it was going to be like a sabbatical, whereas now I think it's managed to sort of turn into like a full-time thing.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
it's kind of a good thing.
Yeah, we view it as a good thing.
Yeah. Definitely. All these things happen for a reason. That's what they say, don't they? Oh, amazing. So you said about resources that you ended up doing because you couldn't go traveling because of lockdown. What were all the resources that you let people have a look at, or that you've created for people?
Yeah, so we kind of started writing a series of blog posts to help people with their conversions. And then I think we're both people that always like to be doing something. And so because I was furloughed, I was like, right, what can I do? So we like spent some time creating this like layout configurator, so people can go through and say, you know, like, I want a toilet, I want a shower, there's 3 of us, we have a dog, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then it will kind of email them like a suggested layout for their van. And we created maybe like 20 different layouts for like lots of different size vans. So that was like a really fun little initial project that we kind of worked on. And then I think from there we could kind of see that there were lots of people coming through to the website and quite a lot of people using this configurator. And so we thought, oh, what else can we do? Because there's obviously lots of people that feel like they kind of, you know, need information and like want some help. So that was when we kind of then went from there on to writing the book, which we spent almost the past year doing. So near enough a year, and pretty much every single day. It was like thousands and thousands of hours. It was
amazing.
But it was fun at the same time.
Yeah, it was just a lot of work, but it was fun. Yeah, it was good.
Are you glad that you've done it now that you've actually got the physical book?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I think it's that like classic thing of, if you knew how long it was going to take and how just all consuming it would become, you probably wouldn't do it, but you go into it quite naive. Kind of the same with converting vans in some ways.
And then you get halfway through and you're like, oh, well, I'm committed now.
There's no turning back. You just have to keep going. It's sort of a labor of love, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. I love that you guys have created this book. What is the book called?
So it's the Van Conversion Bible, and its kind of strapline is The Ultimate Guide to Converting a Campervan.
Amazing. And where can people get that?
So you can buy it directly through our website, which is climbingvan.co.uk, and you should be able to find it from there. So we've got an ebook and like a hardback.
Oh, nice. Oh, I love it. I love that you've created that, because there aren't a lot of books around that sort of tailor everything. You can get, there's loads of really inspiring books on van life, but sort of ones that are from, especially from someone who's in England as well, it's sort of, it's always been, I don't know, I feel like it's been quite a well-known thing to be sort of Australia and America and things like that. Do you feel that the same with the UK? Do you think it's starting to become more of a thing now?
Yeah, I think so. I think like for us, the reason that we kind of decided to write the book is because, you know, I think there's like other bits out there where people have written about their own conversion, but not, we wanted to create something that was like a definitive source of like whatever you wanted to do, like everything, like small vans, big vans, like any of the features.
Yeah,
so we
sure.
we kind of wanted to research everything and put everything in there. But yeah, I think definitely like over the past kind of couple of years, definitely like it's absolutely booming at the moment. It's crazy. It feels like everyone we speak to either is converting a van, has just finished converting a van, or is like, oh, my mum's converting a van, my sister's, like everybody knows someone now. Is crazy, isn't it?
Is
And
crazy.
that seems to be the case just like across the world as well. I think this has been like the really cool thing of writing the book, because you'll get messages from Japan and Taiwan and over, literally all over the place. And there's that kind of like psych and excitement to like,
it's cool, isn't it?
Just get out there and explore and live better and a bit differently, which is really cool to see that it's not just like a UK and American, Australian thing. So
yeah,
definitely.
Really cool. I think people is sort of like you say, people have sort of gone, what do I actually want? Like, what do I want? Like after everything sort of come to a halt, I think people have like reassessed things a bit, haven't they? Of what
for sure.
Oh, I love that. So you were saying that you're going to be doing remote working now. So you both had your jobs before. Do you still have those, or are you doing those remote working? I know a lot of people always find that the hardest. They want to go for it and they want to go full-time or part-time, but they just don't know how to get hold of remote work, especially if their job doesn't allow it at the time.
Yeah, so originally our plan had been, when we were just planning on like taking a bit of a sabbatical, like going away for a year, I was still going to work for my same company just like 2 days a week. I'd like had a conversation with them, they were kind of fine with that, and Dale was just planning on doing some kind of like freelance work. So, you know, there's like loads of different websites that you can go on, whether you do like marketing or like engineering or like you're a developer, like kind of whatever you do, there's a lot of websites where you can just go and you can kind of put yourself out there and you can pick up freelance work. But then because of like everything that's changed over the past 12 months, we've actually kind of started our own little business, like doing all the stuff to do with van conversions and this sort of thing. So as well as the book, like we're working on a load of resources for our website, and we like have a bunch of plans for other things to do. So we ended up quitting our jobs at the start of April, and we're just doing that full time now. So yeah, the plan is kind of travel in the van, work maybe like 3 days a week, and then just explore and climb for the rest of it.
Amazing. So would you say, for someone who might be listening and they might be thinking, how do I do that? Like, I know you said about there's some companies, like I think if we got Fiverr and is it there's like two main ones,
people per hour as well, I think.
People per hour. Oh yeah, I heard about that recently. Is that quite a good one, that one?
Yeah, I think
amazing. Okay, so it's really handy to know that, because people do feel a bit daunted, don't they? They think, how do I actually go and like do it? So I think there's two ways of doing it, isn't there? There's either doing that route where you sort of go onto those websites and gradually go into it, or like you guys have just said, you're just sort of going for it, and you've got your website and you've got your resources and you're selling them all on there.
I think I mean, like from a business perspective, it just makes so much sense to like move away in a van, like clean slate. You've got so much time. Your overheads are just like an absolute fraction of what they would be paying rents or mortgages or anything like that. So you've just got all of the sort of building blocks to have a really good stab at creating a business. Whereas like so often most people are probably working another job. They've got all of the stress of all of the bills and this sort of thing. There's a lot of pressure is applied really quickly. Whereas doing it this way, you can be a bit slower and build it right, hopefully.
I think if people have an idea, it makes sense to do it when you're living in a van. Like Dale said, your overheads are so low. But I think the other thing is that, you know, with everything that's happened over the past year, I think a lot of companies have adapted to the fact that some people do just want to continue working remotely. So it could be that if people want to kind of start living in a van, then actually it's probably a lot easier now than it was a year ago to find a job that you can do completely remotely.
Yeah, it's more known now, isn't it? It's more accessible, like you say, but companies didn't ever used to do that before. That's a really good point, actually. So in the next few years, so I know that you guys are heading to Dover. So for people who don't know, what are your plans from Dover? Why is it that you're heading towards Dover?
So, I mean, there's a very real chance that we stay in Dover. But from checking all of the like every sort of government website, it seems like we're now at a point where we are 100% legally allowed to travel. So we need to make this decision tonight, but I think we're flip-flopping between going to either Switzerland or France.
Yeah, and so I think, basically the position is at the moment that I think France is like on the amber list, which means when you get back you have to quarantine, but because we're planning on going out for at least a couple of months, we're hoping that might change. Worst case, if it doesn't, at least we've got to kind of go out for a couple of months. We can just quarantine when we get back. But yeah, that's the kind of plan. Head out to Europe and just kind of go climbing, go to some mountains, and just like go for a bit of an explore. I think we were getting fed up with all the rain in the UK, so
I don't
want to make our exit.
I think everyone who I've spoken to they've all said, I just need sun. They've all just said, I just need some sun. I don't blame you at all. So if at the moment the plan is that you're going to be living full time, this is your home now, do you think that you would like continue living in a van full time? Is it something that you plan ahead that you're like, this is what we want to do? Or do you think at some stage you might go, oh no, let's go get a bricks and mortar like house or a tiny cabin? Or do you think you always want to sort of live small now that you know that this is like what you're excited about?
Yeah, I think that the more that we've the longer that we've been involved in it, from like initially like building the van, we were like, right, we'll do it for a year and then like weekends. And now we've kind of moved into the van. It's like, oh, maybe 3 or 4 years, maybe longer. And I could totally see in like a couple of years' time, we're just like, we'll just stay like this forever. I think what we really wanted to do at some point is try and build a house, from scratch, which would be really cool. But once you're tied down again then, whereas now, despite COVID, we've got a lot of freedom and flexibility. So
I think the thing we always have a conversation about is like, if we did build a house, where would we build it? And it's like trying to decide on one location that you like enough to kind of have your roots there and stay there, whereas with the van you have the freedom of being able to go wherever you want. So I think what we're kind of hoping is that over the next like 2 or 3 years, as we're traveling, we find somewhere where we think actually this is the place, and then maybe in like 3 or 4 years time we would kind of build a house. But
so you could be anywhere. Absolutely anywhere.
Really don't know. Exciting though. It's good not knowing on this sort of thing. I think like normally we absolutely hate that, but I think it's quite it's quite nice that it feels like we're in a good position now. We can go away and have a lot of fun, and we've got a good like work-life balance. So more of the same, please.
I don't blame you. And like you say, it is exciting. So are you normally the sort of people who are quite like planning and sort of or plan ahead? So is this quite new for you to be like, oh, like we don't know what's going to happen, let's just go with it? So it's really new for you guys.
So pre-COVID we were like absolute planners. Like year in advance we'd be like, these are the holidays we're going to take, we're going to go here. If we originally, when we were going to do our van trip, it was literally going to be like a spreadsheet of like all the different places we were going to go in the order that we were going to go to them all. And then obviously the past year has been like, you can't plan a week ahead, let alone like a month or like 2 months. So I think we've both had to learn to just like deal with that a bit more. And I think like if a year ago you'd told me that we'd be like, oh, should we go to Switzerland next week, I think we would have both been like hyperventilating. But I think because we've kind of had to learn to deal with that over the past year, then now it's like, okay, yeah, we're going to Switzerland. And we're like, okay. So yeah, I think we've learned to find it exciting. But yeah, it's definitely like a bit of a change for both of us.
Oh, I love it. I love that you were saying about like spreadsheets and things like that as well.
Yeah,
it's very
love a
sort of
spreadsheet.
tailored to what you guys do and your sort of passions with your work previously and things. I love that. Some people love a spreadsheet and some people cannot do spreadsheets, but I always appreciate anyone who loves a spreadsheet. I love it. So in terms of traveling, so the idea is that you're going to have this sort of newfound freedom, as cheesy as that sounds. Like you're going to be able to just do what you want, work how you wish, like you guys said, work 3 days, have some time to explore, go climbing, see all different places. So after Switzerland, are there some countries where you think, oh, I'd love to go there?
Yeah, for sure. I think obviously it's like tricky at the moment with like what's allowed and this sort of thing, but I think like the plan is for when things are a bit easier, we'll probably like go down to Spain for the winter, just because it's like quite warm and the climbing's really good there. But there's definitely like some spots that we'd really love to explore. I think like we'd love to go back to the Dolomites in Italy, which is like where we actually first met. And it's super beautiful and the climbing's like really amazing. And I think like, yeah, there's quite a few spots, like actually northern Norway, there's like some amazing climbing and it just looks like beautiful. So yeah, we've definitely got a few spots. And then I think there's like some more ridiculous ideas as well, like shipping the van out to South America or like shipping the van onto Iceland. So yeah, definitely some like pipe dreams as well.
Yeah,
I think we've definitely got 4 years of ideas of where we want to go.
Sure.
So yeah, I think we need to do it for
I love that. Do you find that you're always thinking about these ideas? Like my brain is always quite creative, but I will sit there and I think, oh, I really want to do northern Norway again. I want to see more of Norway. I want to go to Hawaii. Like, does your brain sort of work like that?
Yeah,
for sure.
I think the thing that I really struggle with, because I've been to like quite a lot of Europe and a lot of like European climbing areas, and I'm always saying to Charlie, this place is amazing, this place is amazing, this place is amazing, and it's like, well, do we go back to somewhere that I've already been, or Charlie's been even,
or
do you keep on exploring?
It's work out whether to see somewhere new or go back to a place that you've been. But then sometimes you do see a new part of a place that you've already been to.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what you mean. Sometimes you just want to go to like new places because there's so much to explore as well.
Exactly.
I love that you're thinking of putting your van and shipping it out to another place. Like, that is amazing.
I think we can see if we can like smuggle ourselves in there as well and save on the plane ticket.
Yeah, we definitely, I think it must have been right in the middle of COVID when we were obviously just like really like fed up, and we were like, right, let's Google if it's possible to like ship the van to like South America. And it's like, oh, you can put it on this ship to Uruguay and it takes like 2 months and then you can like fly out and retrieve it. We were like, that sounds cool. So yeah, I think there's definitely some ideas in there. Yeah,
I love that. I knew someone who had a map and they like blindfolded themselves and they had to literally just point, and wherever they pointed was where they went. So maybe that's something that you guys can try.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
It's a bit different. I love this. This is so exciting. So in terms of sort of going back to your van and your space that you're now going to be living in full time, is there anything in there that you're really like glad that you've got?
I would say, I think I'm really glad that we went for the lengthways double bed.
Yeah.
Although like neither of us are like 6 foot something. Like I'm like 5'10", 5'11". But I think like the most important thing for us in a van is just getting a really good night's sleep. Like we're out most of the time climbing and exploring, so we just want to come back absolutely knackered, cook some food, and just like crash out and just have a really good night's sleep. And we kind of really benefit from having the storage below as well, because the climbing gear, I mean, it's like
there's a lot of
it was like
climbing and there's 2 of you as well.
There's a lot of gear. There's probably like 400 or 500 meters worth of rope down there.
We would have no chance of having bench seating. Like we wouldn't fit everything in. It would be crazy. But yeah, I think for me it has to be the Belfast sink, which is ridiculous, but it's so good having like an enormous sink, because I think you see so many people who've got like one of these really tiny little bowls, and it's just like not anywhere near big enough to like do washing up. But ours, you can like do all of the washing up, you can like do all of your washing in it, I can like wash my hair in it. It's just like, it's great, and it just looks very cool. So it was definitely worth the extra weight.
I love a Belfast thing. Yeah, I think that's what puts people off sometimes.
Yeah.
It? Oh,
it is definitely really heavy.
Yeah.
As to your weight. I love that. So you've got the sink, you've got the fixed bed, which is really interesting, because a lot of people, when they're trying to work out what they want in a van, if they're starting out, they're always trying to work out, do I want a fixed bed or a pull-out bed? And I know for myself with the Stitch show home, I knew I wanted a fixed bed, and I'm tiny, but I knew that I wanted it. And I had a little sort of play around with the van and went out sort of away for 5 days. And I know what you guys mean, like having a fixed bed. Like for me personally, like I loved not having to do my bed up, having to take it out, having to store it, having to move it. It's just easier, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is we've got a long wheelbase, so it's like pretty enormous.
Yeah.
So we've still got like bench seating like either side, and there's like really like quite a lot of room. Like I don't think we'd need any more seating than what we've got. I think, you know, if you were like working in your van full time and you were like quite social and you like were having friends in it all the time, then I can see why you might want the U shape. But I think for us, especially with all the climbing gear, like there's no chance we'd fit it all in without a fixed bed. So
I love it. And what do you guys do for like water? Have you got hot water, cold water, showers, or do you just use a sink for washing?
Yeah, so we've got, in the kitchen, we've just got cold water, and then we just boil the kettle for like cooking and just like doing any sort of cleaning that we need to do. But then we've got an instant hot water heater shower at the back of the van.
Nice.
So we can kind of like open up both doors, put a curtain up or not, depending on how many people are around, and then like have a really nice toasty warm shower. It is outside, but it's actually quite nice. It's like but that's surprisingly good.
Yeah, that just connects to like the water tank and the gas tank, and I think they're like about 100 quid. They're pretty cheap, but amazing. You can only use them when they're outside, so that's why it's not connected to the sink in the front. But it just means that we can kind of like stick that outside. It's right next to the door. You can just like have a hot shower. It's really good. Yeah,
that's
it's like
really
a great option for people that don't want the kind of fixed shower inside, but they still want the option of being able to have a hot shower.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. That's something that I've got to look into myself, because I know that I want some form of a shower, but the idea of having like a fixed shower and then having the extra like water and then the possible of like leaking water and just all those things, sort of, I was like, oh, I don't know if I need that yet. It's always something that you can add later on. So do you connect it to the gas, did you say?
Yeah, so it's just like got a permanent connection to our, because we've got like an underslung gas bottle, so it's just like connected to that, and it's connected to our water tank, and then when you turn it on, it just like ignites a little heater, and then hot water. It's great.
I'm definitely looking.
The thing that really impresses me with it is that it doesn't actually use that much water. You get like what is quite a good shower, but it's like little tiny jets of water, so you feel like wet and warm, and you clean. Get all you clean. You get the clean out,
but it doesn't use loads of water.
But you don't like fully drain the tank. It's like, it's pretty good.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I love that. And is that in your book? Have you put that into your book about?
Yeah. We've got that option.
All the different
all
options,
of the various options. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Oh, well, I'll be buying your book after this. I love that. I need to know about showers. For people who don't know, on Instagram, I always like to ask some questions on Instagram. So I've invited the community to ask a few questions, and then I've picked one of those. And the question that I've picked out is from a lady called Jodie, who runs a coffee shop in her van called the Daily Grind SW for Southwest.
Cool.
And her question is, what made you want to pack up your life and make Ringo your permanent address? What was it that made you just go, this is what we're going to do now?
I think for me, commuting was the thing that really, really got me. I think like I really enjoy design and engineering. Like I do really enjoy it, but driving an hour and a bit there and an hour and a bit back, and doing 5 days a week and quite long days and intense days was just too much. I knew that I could be more effective working less hours. And there's countless studies out there that say exactly that.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, the norm is to do the 9 to 5 or more. It just didn't feel sustainable to me.
I think
continue doing that.
And I think for me it's about like the flexibility, both of like once you're living in a van and you're like working remotely, whether you're kind of working for someone else or yourself, I guess if you've got that arrangement, it's likely that you've got a bit more flexibility. So instead of just like being in an office from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and then it might rain all weekend and it was sunny all week, and you're like, great.
Right, yeah.
It's just like having that freedom to be able to like, you know, work on the evenings or work on the weekend if the weather's nice in the week. And I think also just the freedom of like, okay, I'm here and it's raining. Okay, well, I'll just drive a couple hours to where it's sunny. So I think it's just being able to kind of like go wherever the weather's nice or go wherever you fancy, but have everything with you that you need and not feel like, oh, you know, have I packed everything that I need? You've just got everything with you and you just don't need to worry. It's just like a nice way of living, I think.
I think that's the other thing for me that you started to touch on there. It's just like just having the things that you really need.
Yeah.
Like we know that, okay, we've got a lot of climbing gear, but otherwise everything that's in the van like has a purpose.
Yeah.
And it's there for like a very, very good reason. And it's just quite nice knowing that we don't have much stuff. Like everything is really important to us. So yeah, it's like a nice like environmental thing, really.
It doesn't feel cluttered. Yeah. You've just got what you need around you.
Yeah,
exactly.
I love that. I think it's sort of the case of like making what you guys want work. And I think a lot of people are starting to realize that and thinking like, oh, what do I want? Like, you know, when you were saying about with work and things and like working 5 days a week and working like 9 till 5, and I think it's in Spain, I think they were trialing like a 4-day week.
I saw that.
And I'm all for it. I think it works, like it really works, and you work so much better. And I've always been sort of a believer of like that work-life balance. I think it's so important. I think the stress is just like a killer. Like you just have to like really look after yourselves. And you know, like when you were explaining about like work and things like that, and doing too much of it, it can really sort of affect people. Like I could tell when you were saying about it that it was just like getting too much, almost like too stressful, and it's not, it doesn't make you happy, does it?
No. And like half the time for me, I was working for a company that I didn't really believe in at all. If anything, didn't want them to do particularly well. And he's like, why am I doing this?
No, you've got the motivation.
Exactly, and you're falling into that trap of just like, oh, I could maybe earn this. And it's like, well, I'm never going to spend any of it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really happy living in like quite a like basic and simple way.
Yeah, so, definitely.
Yeah, didn't make any sense.
Do your friends and family, are they all sort of like, oh, I wish I could do what you're doing, or have you got anyone who's like, what are you guys doing? Like when you're in a house, like, do you get that? Do you get anyone saying to you like, what?
My grandma, I think, she came out with this, what was a ridiculous statement to me. It was something like, all I ever wanted for you was to have a good job and work really hard. End of it. There was no like, I want you to be really
anything else.
I just want you to work really hard.
You're like, thanks, grandma.
I was like, I don't really want that actually. I'd rather be a bit shrewder and kind of
be happy.
Yeah.
I think the vast majority of people we know are like, this is super cool, like it's amazing what you're doing, like, and find it really, really cool. I think there's a couple of people who are like, you're living in a van, like where's your shower and toilet? I don't understand. But I think the vast majority think it's pretty cool. I think like vans are really like popular in the climbing community as well, so most of our climbing friends like have vans already, even just like for trips and stuff, so they're just like, you've played it pretty well.
I love that. And you guys have been climbing for quite a while, haven't you? Did you say that's how you met in the Dolomites, was it?
Yeah. So I've been climbing for 8 years, I think, and Dale's been climbing for over 20, which
Wow.
is
like over 20 now. Yeah, great.
Since you were born.
Yeah, basically, it's a big giveaway that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah, I kind of started climbing at university, and you started climbing when you were a kid, didn't you?
Yeah.
And it's just been kind of all consuming for both of us, I think. So yeah, we kind of met in the Dolomites through mutual friends on a trip, which was a pretty cool place to meet.
Yeah, definitely. That's really
if there was no restrictions, that's just like where we'd be going right now, pretty much. No, it's probably a little bit early in the season,
but it's just like a really beautiful place as well. It'll be so good to go there in the van, like definitely.
It sounds beautiful. I know that I've gone through sort of Italy before, on the way to Tuscany, and I remember like having to go through, I think it would have been Switzerland. It was a long time ago, and I remember going through and sort of seeing the lakes come up, and then the mountains, and then lakes, and then mountains. I was just like, wow, it's beautiful. It's so lovely.
Yeah,
so
it's a very dramatic landscape compared to a lot of the UK. Like the UK is beautiful, but in a very different way.
Totally different, isn't it? It's so nice. I like, if there's someone out there who wants to start climbing, how would you what would you recommend them to do? Would you always recommend to go for an indoor sort of climbing space where they've got an instructor, or would you say about any outdoor events that are on that would sort of encourage them to sort of explore outdoors instead?
Yeah, so I think like the easiest way to get into climbing is definitely like to do a bit indoors, just because that's a bit more accessible. So like you can go to a bouldering wall and just like kind of have a go. Like you don't necessarily need an instructor, or like if you want to do rope climbing, it's like super easy to kind of book onto a course, and then there's like quite a lot of groups that you can join and like meet other people and that sort of thing, to have somebody to go with. But yeah, I mean, like outdoors is definitely like a lot more fun. So if there are kind of events on there's like a lot of courses that you can join to like learn some skills. I'm actually an organizer of a climbing festival that happens in the summer. So that's just closed the ballot for the tickets, but that's like a super fun event. It's called like the Women's Trad Festival, and it's like about 350 women in a field who all go off climbing, and yeah, that's like super fun. So yeah, I think like trying to find things like that where you can meet like-minded people and like get out on rock and give it a go is always like really good, because I think if you can find someone who's at a kind of similar level to you that's like super psyched to go climbing with, that's like perfect, so that you've like got someone to go with, you can like egg each other on.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. And does that happen every summer?
Yeah, so that's like every summer in August in the Peak District. So yeah, if people are keen, sign up for the newsletter for next year. Yeah,
I love that. I think it's great, because I'd love to be able to learn something like that. And I know that you have the indoor climbing, but I just love the idea of being able to learn outdoors, like from the offset. And like you say, being able to be paired with someone who can teach you. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or you're advanced, then you're paired with someone of that level and ability as well. So it's sort of something for everyone, I think.
For sure. I think like learning outside as well is like so valuable. For me, I learned to climb at university, and it was basically like every single weekend we just like go on a trip outside, and like the people who've been in the club for a couple of years would just like teach you. So I basically learned to climb outside, and it's just like so fun and like interesting, and it's just like it is quite different climbing outside to climbing inside a lot of the time, because you know there's not like big color coded like blobs on the wall. Outside it's like a bit of a different game, so
yeah, definitely
it's quite good learning to climb outside if you can.
I love that. And so sustainability wise, I always like to ask this question to all of our guests. What do you wish you or we had more of sustainability wise? It's a hard one. It is quite a hard one. Is there something that you just wish like, I wish we had more of that, like that would work, or something that people aren't maybe doing? Or it might be just more bamboo toothbrushes. Just something that you think, I wish that we all had more of that.
I guess what would be good is like, because obviously at the moment there's like this whole thing of there's kind of electric vehicles, but they don't necessarily go that far and is quite new technology. So if you invest in now, you're having to pay a lot of money for a vehicle that won't go that far, and you're having to buy a brand new vehicle, and a lot of the kind of carbon footprint of like vehicles is in the manufacture of it. So actually at the moment it's kind of better to buy a second-hand vehicle and give it another lease of life, but you are investing in a diesel vehicle, which obviously isn't great. So I guess maybe I wish there was an electric van that would be able to do 500 miles and it could be powered by its own solar panels. That would be cool.
I think supercharge solar technology so that like with a day or two of sitting around in the sun, you're good for another 500 miles. That would be great.
And then it means that point, then people in their vans could just be like 100% self-sufficient. That would be great.
I think that is the answer, isn't it? It's just like absolute like pure nomadic kind of like off-grid living.
I love that. And do you know what? You'll make your grandma happy, because I think you guys, with your skills, you can make that happen. And she's happy because you'll end up going, Grandma, I've worked very hard and I've made this. There you go. Oh, amazing. Well, Charlie and Dale, thank you so much for joining me today on the Tiny Sessions podcast. For those of you who want to see more of these guys and what they're doing, please visit their website at climbingvan.co.uk. And just a big thank you to you guys for joining me.
Thanks for chatting. It was really good.
Nice.
Thank you so much.